We do want to start, Jeff Elise with the SouthWest Chamber. We do want to start with thanking TGK Automotive. They're our luncheon sponsor today, and we're going to give them a few minutes to talk about their business. So Megan and Kurt from TGK Automotive.
We want to use all that stuff. This here a couple months. Yeah. Because if I could tell you, you give them like CPK and all that, but you give this one, then you use it.
Hi, I'm TJ Brunner. I'm the service manager at Chanhassen TGK. The company for stable first. I've been in the automotive industry for about 8 years now. I'm Cody, certified here at TGK Chanhassen. I've been here since stable first. I've been in the industry for 16 years.
Just suck it up and talk about how we
On a typical day, I take up front, build with customers, advise them on work, schedule an appointment, otherwise I'll get back to cars in and out.
Because I think it could be bigger than just.
We've been here since April 1st, 2018. We're already making a huge impact on the community of Chaska and Chanhassen. Whether it's servicing oil change on your vehicle, or brakes, or heavy engine work, we can definitely take care of that here for you.
But you have to pick them. There's 2 or 3 other ones I want to do.
Thanks for watching the short video. Looking forward to seeing you come in, service your car, and get you back on the road.
Hi, I hope you enjoyed the video. My name is Megan Stebbing and I'm with TGK Automotive. And Cody still has the beard, by the way. We have 8 locations throughout the metro, and we're here on TGK of Chanhassen at this event today. Kirk Sodergren is the owner of that location. TGK Automotive actually started in Hugo, Minnesota about 13 years ago, and since we have grown to now 8 locations, as I mentioned. We're a full-service automotive repair shop, and we specialize in everything from oil changes and brake jobs to fleet services and programs. We are in the community, so we're really excited to be here and get this and represent TGK Automotive as a whole, as well as our new location in Chanhassen, which used to be our Green Tire familiar. So I would go ahead and introduce Kurt Sodergren with TGK of Chanhassen.
Hello, it's very nice to be here. It's really nice to be a part of this community now and really seeing how we can help impact everyone's daily lives. So we're doing a fundraiser right now for the Junior Diabetes Research Fund, and we're running it.
February 21st, our company as a whole is participating in the walk that we have every year. And so if you come in for any services, we're doing a roundup campaign, and all of that money is going towards our TGK walk to benefit JDRF this year.
So yeah, if you guys visit any of our stores, feel free to spread the word, and we really appreciate any help we can get with that. So it's definitely near to a lot of the employees' hearts. So. Other than that, we do other things throughout the year with fundraisers for schools. Any way we can be a part of the community, any ideas. Swinging the store at any time. I'm there every single day. TJ and Cody are there as well every single day. So if there's ways we can help with the community, be involved in the community, whatever it may be, we want to be part of it. So other than that, that's all I like.
We'd love for you to visit. Thank you for having us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, TGK Automotive. So our luncheon sponsors help defray the cost of an event like this. So if any of you have an interest in our 2020 luncheon schedule, you can see Kelly or myself if you're interested in sponsoring one of our luncheons. A big group today. Again, we encourage you to hang out and network and get caught up with people afterwards. On your table, there's a master roster of everybody that's here. So as usual, if there's somebody you want to meet that you don't know, grab Kelly, myself, or George. Be happy to introduce all of any of you. So as a quick recognition, I'm going to have a few groups just stand up real quick before we get into the mayors. But we have a really outstanding group of city administrators and city staff. I'm fortunate to work with a lot of them directly, and we're really, really lucky to have 4 solid city staff. So if you're a staff person in Victoria, any of the cities, please stand up and be recognized. And a special welcome to Dana from Victoria, just started in March, and Jake Foster, fairly new to Chanhassen, so welcome both of you especially. We have some participants in our Student Business Mentor Program. These students signed up last spring, indicated the career interest, and over the summer we matched in with Chamber Business members. They're in an 8-month program, job shadowing, service learning projects, and guided discussions. And just want to have some of our students and mentors are here, so I'm going to have you guys stand up and be recognized. And one other group I really enjoyed working with is our SouthWest Metro Leadership Program. They are also in a 9-month program. Today is their government day, so they spent the entire morning down at the county buildings, and I'd like to have those folks stand up. Leadership folks, stand up, please. Really awesome group of emerging and rising star leaders in our community, so thanks for being here. And then one final recognition and thank you is to the City of Chaska TV for being here. If you have an interest, we'll send out links. Everything will be recorded and put up on YouTube, so any of you can go out to cities can share the luncheon today. So, welcome, all 4 of you there. Appreciate your time being here. This is always one of my favorites and always really interesting to learn what's going on in the cities. We're going to start with Carver and Mayor Courtney Johnson. Then we'll go to Mayor Tom Funk from Victoria. Mike Huang is actually on the City Council. He is Mayor Pro Tem. Mayor Mark is at a Met Council meeting today trying to reel in some transportation money for us. So appreciate you being here, Mike. And then Elise Ryan will be in the cleanup spot from Chanhassen. So I'm going to turn it over. Welcome, Courtney and Carver.
And I am the mayor of the city of Carver. I first want to thank Jeff and everyone at the SouthWest Chamber of Commerce to give us this opportunity to tell you about all the great stuff that's going on in the city of Carver. First of all, I want to do some introductions on behalf of the council. My colleagues that I serve with on the council are left to right, Glenn Henry, Christy Mock, Lori Sayre, and Joy McKnight. Both Glenn and Christy have been on the council for a number of years. Lori is a new face. She was elected last year at this time, and then Joy was appointed to fill the remainder of the term that I vacated when I was appointed, or when I was elected as mayor. In addition to myself being here today, we also have a really great team from the city of Carver, including our city manager, Brett Merrick, community development director, Aaron Smith, our city clerk and treasurer, Vicki Stans-Iden, Public Services Director, Brian Skoke, and our Administrative Assistant, Brenda Good. And I want to thank all of them and recognize all of them for being such great members of our team. None of this happens without our city staff. We really appreciate it. One of the first things that we did this year is we got together as a group that involved department heads, every member of our commissions, the parks, historic preservation, and planning. And we spent an evening ideating about where we wanted to be and how the direction that we wanted to head as a city. After a really great discussion and some very significant wordsmithing, we came up with what is now known as the Carver Way that you see on the slide behind me. Everything that we do at the city level is under this umbrella of the Carver Way. This document of the Carver Way is in every single one of our council and commission packets. The Carver Way has guided our work for the past year, and it's going to frame up my presentation today. So starting with our first guiding principle, we are focused on solutions to support shared goals and vision. One of the first things that we did once we had a full council was we got together and worked on strategic planning with the council, myself, and our department heads at the city level. So after a day and a half where we took some time to get to know each other better and figure out what everyone's priorities were and where we wanted to lean into for the next 2 years, we came up with a list of priorities, all which roughly outline under the following categories: creating opportunities downtown, funding infrastructure, fostering community, and refining Carver's identity. I am not the only mayor up here who is probably excited to be done with a comprehensive planning process. We submitted our Design Carver 2040 comprehensive plan to the Met Council earlier this year. The comprehensive planning process is a lift, but it's a really good exercise to kind of see where we want everything to go as we're a rapidly growing city in the Southwest Metro. Hot off the presses, our Parks Commission has done a lot of work on our Parks Plan, and as part of that planning, it serves as a supplemental document to our comprehensive plan that delves into a little bit more detail of where we want to build out the parks that are in our search areas and what those will look like. So one of the things that I think is going to be the biggest talker among the members of our community is what you see up there. That's a plan for a splash pad that will be in downtown, roughly where the Public Services building is today. So if you take a closer look at it, I'm not sure how much detail you're able to see there, but it incorporates elements of our historic downtown and our history. So things like the water tower, the Carver Rapids, the old railroad trestle bridge, they're all incorporated into that splash pad that will be right downtown. This park will also have areas for community gatherings, such as a farmer's market, food trucks, and other community events. The second focus principle of the Carver Way is that we listen with respect and compassion while engaging in open dialogue. Affordable housing continues to be a priority in the city of Carver. In May, former Metropolitan Chair Nora Slavic and Minnesota Housing Commissioner Jennifer Ho visited Carver to participate in a discussion about housing and transportation in our area. A couple of you were there for that conversation, as well as some community members as well, to kind of talk about the priorities and the needs that we're experiencing in this area. And then last month, Representative Tom Emmer visited Carver. He was accompanied by, again, Jennifer Ho, who made her second trip to Carver in 6 months, as the representative announced his support and co-sponsorship of the Affordable Housing Credit Improvement Act of 2019, which took place at our very own Carver Crossing. Earlier this year, the fields at Ironwood Park opened up, so I wasn't familiar with the process, but fields have to rest for a period of time before you can go out there and play on them. The period of rest took place, and we opened up those fields this year. Those fields now provide lighted fields, so in the fall, the sporting teams and everybody else has an opportunity to use those fields a little bit later on in the day. They also provide opportunities for folks for football, soccer, lacrosse. There's an individual who really enjoys flying kites up there. The third element of the Carver Way is that we are a prepared and dedicated group that utilizes resources effectively. Perhaps the most anticipated event in the city of Carver this year was our opening of the new city hall. At the building dedication ceremony in September, we recognized Carver's previous mayors by inviting Jim Wygand, Cindy Monroe, and Mike Webb back to have them help us with the flag raising. We honored Greg Osterdyke, who passed away earlier this summer, by inviting his wife Lori and daughter Sydney, and we had them raise the city of Carver flag. After the flag raising ceremony, we had everybody inside. We were able to check out the building and kind of kick the tires on the new city hall for the first time and see what we had been building there for the better part of the past year. Investing in infrastructure is important in Carver because in Carver we're no stranger to flooding. Because of this, we're tackling improvements to our Minnesota River levee. This is an issue that the city of Carver has been tackling for decades, but I can confidently say that at this point, we are further along in the process than we have ever been. And that's because we now have a plan. We know where the deficiencies lie, we know which areas we need to raise the levee height, raise the freeboard, where we need to work on the slopes. So we have that plan. Last month, the Minnesota House Capital Investment Committee visited Carver as they were touring sites for projects that had submitted for funding in the 2020 bonding bill, which is definitely a step in the right direction that we're super excited about. And then the final element of the Carver Way is that our team works together for a better Carver. If you have driven through the city of Carver recently, I am not telling you anything you don't know when I say that residential development and building continues to be very, very strong. This year alone, we've issued 103 single-family building permits, and we're on track for 120 by the end of the year. We have 4 residential housing developments, all which are within a half a mile of Carver Elementary School. And when those projects are built out to completion, we'll have well over 500 new homes in the city of Carver, just from these 4 developments alone. We're really excited to have Carver Ridge open up in our community. This is located on the site of the former bus garage off of 6th Street in Carver, and it is going to have 7 units, which will be a mix of memory care and assisted living. In addition to providing types of housing that we haven't had available in the city of Carver before, it's also going to bring 50 jobs to our community. The units will open for marketing and tours next month, and then we'll have our first residents moving in as early as December, which is very, very exciting. We are also thrilled to have a number of small businesses that have opened up in Carver. Dr. Travis Gilbertson, just saw him, there he is, opened up Chiropractic Specialists of Carver, which is located in Carver Square by Carver Dental and Chanhassen Learning Center. If I can brag on Travis for just a bit, I think Travis is the model for opening up a small business, probably in any one of our communities, but especially in Carver, where that small town feel is so important. Travis has become embedded in our community. He's a member of the Carver Lions. He attended our Carver Business Alliance meetings long before his business opened, so he's really become a solid member of the community and focusing on his business and growing that as one of us. Earlier this year, Annette Hens retired and closed her business, Carver Flowers. And while it was completely with mixed emotions that we're happy for Annette for being able to retire, but also sad to see her business close, we were thrilled that her space filled up so quickly with Carver General, which specializes in home and garden decor with a vintage flair. So they're right downtown in the former Carver Flowers building. Also downtown, I'm excited to see what Somewhat Crafty will bring us. They're located in the old historic gas station on the corner of Broadway and Main, and they'll be celebrating their grand opening this weekend. We also have Greg Cummings Farmers Insurance Agency, and that's in the old Cup of Carver building, which is right across the street downtown from Casey's. We're also really happy to have Lakeview Industries in Carver. Lakeview is a women-owned business which it manufactures flexible components. They make such a wide variety of products that it's very likely that there is something that has been manufactured from Lakeview that is in every aspect of every single one of our lives. Lakeview's new 154,000 square foot corporate headquarters, which opened last week in Carver, has brought 85 new jobs to our city. Looking forward, what's next for Carver? I'm excited that the business that was long referenced as a gas convenience store user, aka Quick Trip, will be on a council agenda next month for final approval. That will be located off of Monroe Drive, just north of Carver Elementary School. A lot of folks, whenever we do surveys in town, what people want to see, they want to see a small grocery store. And while at first value, Quick Trip might not be a small grocery store that you're thinking, I think it's going to do a lot to kind of serve that need of what people are looking for something to run in, a place to grab milk, a place to grab something real quick for dinner. So that'll be exciting when that passes. Development has also reached a point where we have realized a need for a new water treatment plant, which is arguably probably not one of the most exciting things that cities have to plan for, but probably one of the most necessary. So we're starting to make plans to get going on that, and that's something that we're going to need to complete rather quickly, but we're working on getting that done by 2022. Planning will also continue for the Jonathan Carver expansion project, which will widen that road from 2 lanes to 4 lanes, and that's slated for 2021. That wraps up my presentation. Thank you so much to the Chamber for giving us this opportunity. I'll be looking forward to coming back next year and telling you about all the great things that are happening in Carver. And with that, I will hand it off to Mayor Tom Funk.
Wow. Let me first start off with this presentation and let you know that this is not testable. You do not have to take notes. So thank you, Mayor Johnson. I'm happy to be here today to be able to speak to all of you and talk about all things Victoria. My name is Tom Funk, I'm the Mayor of Victoria, and quite simply, the year of 2019 was change in Victoria. Significant things happened. First off, in January, we welcomed 2 new council members, Councilor Judy Black and Deb McMillan. Along with that, the new council unanimously selected Dana Hardy, who joined our city, and she has been a tremendous asset to the city in implementing some of the changes that we needed to make. Throughout this transition, we've had to restructure a number of positions, and we welcomed a number of new members to our team. These changes have really strengthened our staff, and we're sure that they're going to help us deliver our services very efficiently. First off, after 7 years and 13 years as a finance manager in the private sector, Trish Pollock was promoted to finance director. Along with that, Dave Schober, who's been with the city for 11 years in various capacities and currently serves as one of 2 assistant fire chiefs, was promoted this fall to our public works director. We're currently in the process of recruiting for, and we haven't made the selection yet. I should say Dana hasn't made the selection yet. But we're also looking for a new community and economic development director, and we should have news on that hopefully soon. And then finally, effective just this morning, Chris Lovering has taken over a new role as an assistant fire chief in Victoria due to the other fire chief actually moving out of state. And so we've had a lot of significant changes, a lot of changes in department heads, and these changes are really helping to drive Victoria forward under Dana's leadership at City Hall. Earlier this year, the City of Victoria was one of the first cities to adopt our 2040 comprehensive plan. Council and city staff took a deep dive into our city operations, and changes were made to make sure our city was running efficiently and effectively. And then in June, the City Council adopted a new 2-year strategic plan that's going to not only guide the council, but also guide staff through the end of 2020. This is going to help us really get the direction that we want for Victoria going the right way. As part of this, we're reviewing city policies, and we've already revised a number. In the first quarter of next year, there's going to be a number of additional policy changes along with updates to our ordinances to make it easier for businesses to interpret them and remove ambiguity in those ordinances. Additionally, we've reformatted our city council meetings to make it easier for the public to follow and allow easier transition and more transparency for the public themselves. Next, the city has launched a upgraded website that is more consumer friendly, focusing on easy access for information to make it easier to the public to find and locate things that are part of this effort to do better outreach to our community, we've also reformatted and launched the Victoria Spirit, which is our quarterly newsletter that goes out. Excuse me, goes out to our residents to try to get information on what's happening in the city. These changes have really formed kind of a foundation and a bedrock and a catalyst for visible change in our community. And these changes are going to continue to move forward throughout the remainder of this year and into 2020. Finally, I would be remiss if I didn't say that Victoria, with these changes, is now open for business, and I want to touch on some of these. In 2019 alone, we welcomed a number of new businesses, and we've had other businesses expanding. The Lion's Den, which is an extension of the existing restaurant, that is the Noble Lion, that'll be opening soon, which will give us more space downtown and more options. In May, Winchester Rye, the wonderful restaurant, if you haven't been there. In fact, all of these restaurants in Victoria are wonderful. Unique, fun, good food, very enjoyable. In addition to that, we welcomed a new chiropractic care clinic this spring, Carver County Chiropractic Company. And then finally, Victoria Borough has expanded, and they have a new arcade complete with the ability to earn tickets for prizes. So if you haven't gone in there, that'd be a fun place to go and have a nice evening. And additionally, one of the things that the council has approved just recently is Cornerstone Village. It's part of Bethesda. Bethesda's been part of Victoria since the 1970s. And Victoria has been the first community in the nation to adopt this kind of model and approve this kind of project. And for those that aren't familiar with Bethesda, it's a living model where adults with developmental and intellectual disabilities live side by side with seniors in an integrated living community. Instead of warehousing them, it brings them into the community. So this is the first in the nation to kind of develop it. We're looking forward for that to open up, and we're hoping that that will be extremely successful. We expect it to be so. They in fact broke ground earlier this summer, and as soon as it's open, we'll invite you all over to come over and tour the new facilities. Next, as you've probably heard, the city is currently undergoing a process to develop a large and industrial area south of the city, down at the corners of County Road 10 and County Road 11. We're already starting to see developers talk to the city, give them more information as Victoria continues to grow and we continue to grow down south. We're already in the process of moving the infrastructure in terms of the water and the sewer and the various lines down County Road 11 towards it. So we think that this is going to continue to draw interest, and it won't be too long before we start getting serious about more plans in that part of the city. In the future, as we look to close out 2019 and move into 2020, not only are we open for business, but we have a lot of recreational activities, and these are going to continue to expand into the future. First off, for those that haven't heard, Lake Wasserman Park is a big project on the west side of Lake Wasserman. In partnership with the Minnehaha Creek Watershed District, the city has been looking at a piece of property, and we're getting ready to approve that. The council has already approved plans for 60% development. Unless something changes, I expect the council will give final approval to this project later this year. This will be a regional, a citywide park that will have a lot of amenities and tie into the lake itself. We're really looking forward to having that open. Another thing that the city has taken on and will help with is there's been, for years, the city has been talking about Marsh Lake Road, which is on the southern border of Victoria. It's a gravel road. The city council voted earlier this year to keep that a city road and not convert it to a county road. And as such, we're going to pave that road so that we can actually have entrances to it and without having to deal with all of the grading and the other issues that come with the gravel road. So this will be a big improvement for the city. It will help, and I know the residents on the south side of the city are extremely excited to have this project moving forward. Another item that I want to talk about is Downtown West. This is in Victoria, we typically refer to as 13.5 acres. This is just literally west of downtown as it exists today. The city's had this property for a long time, and with all of the changes that have happened, especially with the new council and the new staff, there's been a tremendous amount of interest from developers looking at what do we want to do with this property. The design you see up here has gotten the approval of the council. We're looking at trying to get this done, and the city continues to have discussions with developers. We don't know exactly when this will happen, but at this point, based on the public discussions in the council and the public's input, this is a high priority, and I think there's a lot of support for this in the community. This will be a great addition to our city. And so with that, I wanted to thank you again for the opportunity to come and talk with everybody today. Victoria is growing leaps and bounds like a lot of the other communities out here in our neighboring sister cities, and I welcome you to come and try out our restaurants. Let me leave you with one final thought, because if anybody's been to Victoria, you've probably heard the question about parking. I want to emphasize that the council is looking at converting our old public works building, which is on the east side of town, into surface parking. And I'm looking to partner with our businesses to create a valet service. And if this all comes together, as I think there's a good chance it can, we will end up having a valet service that creates, in essence, about 80 or 90 parking spots where you can come to downtown, drop your car off right there, and the car will be taken and parked in this new surface parking. So the council hasn't approved that yet. There's been discussions on it. If if we can put that in place, it would be very easy to come into downtown Victoria, and we'd love to see it. With that, let me thank you again and introduce Mayor Pro Tem Huang.
Of course, it's always the short guy has to adjust the mic here, right? So I just want to thank everyone for making it out here today. I'd like to thank the mayors of these cities or neighboring cities for joining us out here today, as well as SouthWest and Metro Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event and TGK for sponsoring it. And thank you to city staff for all that you do day to day within our community. So there's a lot to talk about today, but one of the things we want to talk about is that we always think of what is our charter in the simplest sense. To be the best small town in Minnesota. What does that really mean? It's not about the fact that we grew from 2,000 people in the 1890s to 27,000 people today. It's not about the size of the buildings or the size of the homes, but it's about people, the sense of community. It's about connectivity. So we talk about connecting with the community. And what makes Chaska great is really that we've done a great job at connecting people. Not through the projects we've done, even though we've done some amazing things with the Community Center in 1990, Town Course in 97, Highway 212 in 2008, Fireman's Park in 2015, the facility we're in today. But we're also creating energy and vibrance within our community. We're celebrating our culture and our heritage. We're creating quality destinations for activities, for shopping, for dining. We're creating, and more importantly, a sense of belonging for the people who are here, whether they're residents or people who work here or people who have businesses here. And effectively, the most important thing is connections with each other. So in order to kind of capture what our vision is of the future, we have to take a step back and look at where we've been. And where we've been, when we actually look at it, things don't really get to be great by accident. You think of Minnesota's strong, diverse economy, or you think about the great education system we have in Minnesota. The Gophers winning season, right? Anyone Gopher fan there? Or the Vikings winning season, right? Yeah. But things don't happen by accident. So it's all about creating things around the people. So this year was a really a big change year for us as a community. And so this year we had a lot of change within City Council. And so, first of all, we had 4 new members of City Council. So Councilors Hubbard, Hatfield, Grow, and myself were all new. Mayor Winchell was our stalwart there. And so, and part of what we do on a year-to-year basis is we have that strategic planning process. We get together and kind of look at the history, what happened, how did we get here, and try to establish our vision for that future. And so we got a chance to take a look at that timeline of what we've done as a community. So we really look at what's important to us as a community, and some of the things that are really important to us have been things like creating great community gatherings, such as River City Days, Taste of Chaska, Hometown Holiday, Downtown Block Party, Oktoberfest, the Farmers Market, just to name a handful of them. And these are important because no matter what we do in the community, no matter what we do in the city in terms of building great buildings, great roads, great sewers, I mean, we all love great sewers, right? For all these things, it doesn't matter if people don't care. If people aren't connected, it's not a community. So when we build these things, we built something like Fireman's Park. The place we're in today, 100 something plus years ago, this is a place that under the ground beneath your feet were kilns that fired bricks from that hole, which is now the Clay Hole Lake. And those bricks built Minnesota. The Minnesota City Hall, the state capitol, were built using bricks from the very site that you're in today. But 100 years later, look at where we are today. It's a gathering place. It's a place of celebration. It's a place that, for us, was the catalyst in our 2011 downtown master plan to say we need to make a place that will bring people to downtown Chaska so we can celebrate and become a better community. So part of that is activation of that site through things like the Fire and Ice Festival, a 3-day community event that brings celebration, games, food and drink through Bondsfields, with curling tournaments for those of you who are not curlers, right? So it brings all these things. It brings thousands of people to Fireman's Park. The curling center itself, it has the largest membership in the nation. And just let that sink in for a second. This is a 4-year-old facility and has the largest membership in the nation. It has league nights filled most nights, and if you look at some of the pictures up here, some of these people you might recognize, like in the top left here, or on the top left or top right is Jared Allen from the Vikings, and he brings his team to practice, and they're aspiring Olympians. At the bottom left is John Schuster, who's captain of the U.S. Men's Olympic team, and the sub-zero curling team that represents Chaska and the juniors. And the top left picture there is Kevin Martin, who's a Hall of Fame curler. So these are the type of people we bring here to Chaska. And then you pick up the event center we're sitting in, you're sitting, as we're in today, is the Mayor's Luncheon, right? This is the home for the Martin Luther King Jr. celebration, the fire and ice and the fire department fishing contest. And in a couple of weeks, I'll be hosting the Martinez Table event to celebrate community, to bring people together, to have the important conversations that we need to have as a community. And then also December 1st, outside here, we'll have the Fireman's Park tree lighting ceremony. We'll have a 50-foot tree, which you can see kind of pre-assembled. So if anyone wants to help out, just kind of meet us outside in a few minutes. And then, of course, there's also other things that go on throughout the year, like yoga, there's root beer socials, Claypool Beach. There's all sorts of things. But ultimately, we created a destination for events and activities, but most importantly, for connecting people. And of course, you look at the town course. It's been around for quite a while, but it's also been home to the 2006 U.S. Amateur Tournament. It's a place that's such quality that many people from Allison and Chaska come and golf there and don't even realize it's a city-owned course. It's surrounded by residential neighborhoods, but yet it's a place where our community gathers and people from outside our community come. And it's been a destination for tournaments as well as just casual golfers, all alike. But we kind of look at that, how does it get to be that? And it's not just because we build great things, but because we also have great people contributing to that. And the way that we've measured that is through some surveys that we've done. And one of the surveys that we do on a frequent basis really asks our residents, what value do you see in city services? And one of the most important things, and of course this is PowerPoint, so I have to show a graph, right? One of the most important things we have here is that we show that our value that people perceive increases year after year. And that's because we're delivering things that people see, they touch, they experience. We're delivering these great experiences for people. And then of course, you look at it from a city staff perspective, the way that city staff are perceived is also incredibly high too, in terms of people have a very high approval rating of what people do in our city staff as individuals, whether it's the fire department, the police department, whether it's the city sanitation, whether it's the snow plows, whether it's the finance department and bills and making sure things get paid on time and things like that. All these things contribute to the fact that people view us very positively. But that's because we have an amazing city staff. One of the things we're most proud of this year especially is that we were awarded the top 150 workplaces by the Star Tribune this year. Only one of 2 cities in Minnesota to get that. The other one was our neighbors over in Eden Prairie, who actually were recognized as well. And this is a testament to the great people we have, but this is also a testament to the fact that because we invest in our people, we believe in our people, we support our people, whether who work here, live here, or work for the city, that we create these bonds that are shared between all of us. And this also establishes the fact that we can also have great retention, and a lot of these people have been here over 10 years, over a decade. So when we talk about the community and the community focus, what we look at is creating exceptional experiences for our residents. In fact, within Carver County, Chaska is the only city that has its own police department. We have community service officers that are actively engaged within the community. The fire department's introduced the duty shift, the duty cruise model to the fire department, which really helps our firefighters manage their personal lives as well as offering service to the community. We also received a grant from Firehouse Subs for some new AEDs, which will again save lives, added value. And of course, there's other things that are kind of unsaid sometimes about, like for example, electric utilities. We're one of the few cities that has its own electric utility, and we're recognized for exceptional reliability by the American Public Power Association. And of course, who doesn't like something free, right? So we also give away 2 free LED light bulbs to any Chaska residents. That's great. So we've covered kind of where we've been and where we are today, but where are we going? And the way I look at it is that no matter what we do, it's not enough because there's always room for improvement. And so we look at one of our areas downtown, City Square West, just down a couple blocks down the street from here. Since the 1880s, this is the lots that's across the street, the shopping centers across the street from the gazebo downtown here. This site, back in the 1880s, this was a lumber shop. So if you can imagine, bring yourself back to the 1880s. It had a lumber shop, a wagon shop, a blacksmith, a grocer, and a hardware store, and maybe a drugstore, right? I mean, this is classic, like, spaghetti Western material, right? These spaghetti horses and stuff. I don't think spaghetti in the cities have to ride horses to work anymore, but they might, So, but I think that one of the cool things is that site in the 1800s was home to something that we picture as classic Americana. But then over time it changed, it evolved. As a city we grew, we needed a place for a courthouse, so we built a courthouse. It became the county seat, and it was the county seat for a long time in that location. Then during the mid-1960s, again, we changed, we grew. As a county, we realized we needed more space. So we started moving towards where is now the courthouse and the public services buildings that we have, the county services buildings we have today. And in that site, we built the post office, Klein Bank, or now some the Old National, as well as a strip mall that's there. But times have changed again. So it's time for us to make another change. So now we're looking at a new concept for rebuilding and redeveloping the space. So in discussions with other partners such as ArtSpace, who helps to develop affordable housing for artists and building communities, we're looking at creating a place that, again, is focused around the people, focused around building a sense of community through a location that attracts people to both live, to work, and to enjoy their spare time. A place that will be a venue for performing arts, for the creative arts, for celebrations, and maybe even things like a winter festival or winter carnival. And so being able to do this in a place and also add parking and be able to add more retail shops that day-to-day people can really appreciate is part of that vision for downtown. It's one of the catalysts that will help to really revitalize downtown and even take it up a step from where it is today. And then we also look at the Chaska Library. It's already a destination. Over 60% of Chaska residents use the library. But we realized that we just outgrown that space. It's like a third of the size that's really needed for a community of our size. And right now, 80% of the people that we've talked to said, this library needs to be bigger to meet what we need. So we're looking at multiple sites to make sure that we can find a really good home for this library. And it's really important because a library is a focal point for the learning, for the sharing of knowledge, for the sharing of experiences. It's a meeting space for the community, and also for learning for children and our youth to create maker spaces, retail components within that. So we look at this as a very holistic picture that in order to create a great community, we need to focus on creating an experience for people. And that experience also includes city services. So it's also including making sure that our city services, whether it's snow plowing, public safety, city water, and electricity, all these things continue to be top priorities because as we grow, we need to make sure that we're relevant and we'll make sure that we're providing excellent customer service to every one of our residents and every one of the businesses in town. But one of the things we realized, unfortunately, is that a lot of the facilities we have today were built over 30 plus years ago. And because of that, we're seeing leaking roofs, rusted doorways. If you walk into the community center during the winter, during some of the rainy season, you'll see buckets in the middle of the hallways because we've had some problems. There's some structural issues. And we know we need to fix that. So one of the things we're looking at is we're looking at some levies to address these issues. We're doing some tough financial decisions. But we know we need to invest in our future because it's much more cost effective to invest in something and taking care of what we have than to build from scratch. So we're looking at this in the long term, and we're also looking at making sure that we can have the right tools in place to do that, including the right municipal services structure within the organization through the municipal services division, as well as making sure that we're focusing on facilities that they can use as well, including the municipal services building, city hall renovations, and also renovations of public safety and also potentially public safety campus. Now we look at all of this. This is all great, but it's all in service to the people of Chaska, to create a welcoming community. Because as the community grows, we've grown over 40% since 2000. So if you think about that, that's 7,000 people in like the years 2000 to 2015. So because of that, our demographics are shifting. And that means that we've had over 126% increase in the age group of 45 to 64, and like a 97% increase in people over age 65. And what that means is that we need to make sure that we provide for a diverse housing portfolio that will provide for that life cycle housing that's needed to create and continue to perpetuate a really healthy community dynamic. So that means a healthy mix of inventory from affordable housing all the way through to luxury housing and everything in between, because we want to make sure there's a home for everyone in Chaska. And of course, one of the things that's important is that there's also many groups that are out here too that also go out of their way to really take care of our residents and people within our community. And of course, some like such as the Carver County CDA, Watch Ministry, and the South Foundation, as well as Habitat for Humanity. And as our community grows, the diversity in our community is also going to continue to grow as well too. One of the things that's really important to us is making sure we stay at the forefront of this. And being at the forefront means that we need to train and educate ourselves. So the city staff has been going through YMCA diversity training to make sure we have that awareness and the cognition to understand and be sensitive to and aware of and be able to respond appropriately to differences within our community as we grow. And Marnita's table event in a couple of weeks is another example of an area where we want to make sure we're fostering the right community dialogues in a positive way where we can build bridges and build connections between people. As well as like other events we traditionally hold, such as the MLK Human Rights Month. This is in January 20th at here at the event center. And of course, we also hosted Race the Mayoral Luncheon at the community center, which is another event to help people think a little more critically about the differences between one another. Then, when we talk about diversity, diversity also includes inclusion. And inclusion means a lot, but it also means making sure that for those who may have physical needs, that we accommodate those as well. And one of the most important things is in our Parks and Rec area is in looking at developments of things such as the learning links, where we take the Chaska Talent course, which is in need of some redevelopment, a little TLC, but taking that and bringing it to the next step and preparing for the next generation so all of us can enjoy it too, but we can also include those who may not be as physically able to, and be able to enjoy that and appreciate it as well. And then we're also looking at the Miracle Field as another development, so that we can introduce baseball to others in the community who might not be able to have that benefit as well. And then Parks and Rec side, a lot of that boils down to programming. It's activation and creating celebration of inclusion and making sure it's programmable, accessible, adaptive gyms, swim adventures, of course partnerships with groups like Iconic, which is an Inclusive Communities Coalition. So on all these fronts, it's all about focusing on the people. How can we help and reach out to and touch people in a way that's meaningful? But when we talk about reaching out and connecting, you gotta physically connect people too. And so a lot of that goes down to how do we connect them through roadways and transportation. So one of the things we've got going for us right now is the new 212 County Road 44 interchange, which was just finished last weekend. So if you haven't been on it yet, it's an on-ramp, so just, it's an on-ramp, but it's really exciting for us. it's also got an on-ramp. It's also got an off-ramp too. Okay, and then we did talk about regional connections. And one of the other things too, from a regional perspective, is that we're also looking at connectivity from Highway 169 and 41. And Highway 169 and 41, there's going to be a significant amount of construction going on with that interchange that's going to be developed. And so we understand that there's going to be some rough patches in the development of that. We continue to work with the community and our businesses in town and our residents to make sure we bring as much awareness awareness and visibility to what's going on as we can, while we continue to, foster the, support that development as it goes through, because that will help traffic over the long haul. And of course, there's 41 alignment, which brings improved traffic flow to our industrial parks, which is also in progress. And one of the things we're most excited about is the redevelopment of Highway 41 through downtown Chaska. And this is something that's really key for us. And for those of you who may remember, we went through a large redevelopment of 41. And it was brought us some improvements, but we need to move to that next step of, because there's more traffic, there's more demand, there's still challenges of safety in this area. So we know we need to move forward with this, and this will be happening in a few years, where again, we'll be investing to make sure that we can address these issues and improve and meet the needs of future Chaska. And ultimately, all of this boils down to support for our community. And as a part of the community, we also have a number of new members of the community from the business community. And so I'd like to take a moment to recognize all the new businesses and organizations here today. And of course, before I forget, just one more thing. Every great city has great events. And some of the events that will be coming to Chaska include the 2020 USA Curling Mixed National Championships here at the Curling Center. The 2020 US Junior Amateur Championships with COSO hosted by Hazeltine and the Town Course. The 2024 US Amateur Championship, which will be co-hosted by Hazeltine and the Town Course as well. And of course, for those of you who are golf fans and love the Ryder Cup for the first time ever, the Ryder Cup will return to Chaska in 2023. So all of this is about what we think of as building the best small town in Minnesota. For us, it's about the people. It's about taking on the projects that strengthen our connections within our community. It's about creating energy, vibrance, the culture, and history. It's about doing things that bring people together in our community. And to achieve this goal, we know we may never be able to truly achieve that perfect small town, but we can always strive for it and chip away at that and do better every single day. With that, thank you. I'd like to thank all the mayors. I'd like to introduce Mayor Elise from Chanhassen.
I gotta take this out. I know Jeffrey said that I was clean up crew, but I'd like to say let's get this party started. So we got a head table, we got a dance floor. I see Mike McClawson in the back and the vintage, so we should be ready to go. First of all, thank you again, Jeff and the Chamber, for all that you guys do to support the region's local businesses, your support, your just overall supporting their business needs and promotion. You all do a great job, so really appreciate that. And also thank you to my fellow mayors and council member for your presentations today. As we know, it's a team effort to grow regionally, and appreciate learning about your cities and all that you do for the community at large. So today, pretty exciting day to speak with all of you. And in thinking about today, I thought, gosh, 'tis the season. We have a lot of people just leapfrog before and right past Thanksgiving, and we go right into the holidays and Christmas. And so I thought, what a great story with the Christmas Carol to talk about past, present, and future. But it's not my past, present, and future, obviously. It's Chanhassen's past, present, and future. And if you look at that photo up there right now, I know you see a Scrooge, and see it's kind of negative. And we certainly don't have any Scrooges around City Hall. We just have happy elves like our city manager, Todd Gerber. It was a chamber picture, so we were able to use this today. So that is our fearless leader there, Todd Gerber. Thank you. But in looking back, before we move forward, I wanted to talk about what's been happening in our past, some of the exciting businesses that have opened recently over the past year in Chanhassen. First up, we have North Coop. It's a great restaurant sitting right in kind of our northwest corner of Chanhassen. It's a southern style kitchen. with fried chicken, chicken and waffles, chicken and grits, fried pickles, fried green tomatoes. It is a great Southern style restaurant and great owners, great atmosphere. Love to have them part of the Chanhassen community. We also have had the dog park gourmet hot dogs open. And if you're kind of sick of the burgers or the sandwich shops, this is a great place to stop in and get a gourmet hot dog. So they don't just have the classic ketchup and mustard, but it's all done with a gourmet style. So kind of a fun place right near downtown Chanhassen. We also recently, where George and I, we've been seeing each other all over. There's George in the back. George and I have seen each other a lot at all these different events. The Cookie Cups just opened, a really fun, unique business in Chanhassen. That everything that is there is made from a muffin tin. So this is their second location. So whether it's a mini muffin tin or a regular muffin tin, and if it's sweet or savory, you can get it at their shop right in Chanhassen. And it's you can walk up and order food there, and they have a milkshake and cookie bar, but then they also have an extensive catering menu. So as you're starting to plan for your holidays and you just can't do it yourself, and you want something fun, little appetizers, it's a great location. And again, a fun, unique business that's been added to our downtown. In the last few months, we had Office Max open a work portion of their building. They redesigned the overall location, but with so many independent business owners or people that are working out of their homes, tired of maybe going to a coffee shop for a meeting or doing some of their work, they opened a business side of it where you can sit at high tables, you can rent or at least desks as well as offices. And then they have a great interactive media conference room so you can hold conferences there. So a beautifully done and designed space and a great addition again to our downtown community. And then if you've driven down Highway 5, I'm sure you've seen the brand new apartment building. So the Venue apartment building in Aldi complex is new to our downtown. It's another beautiful building with a lot of amenities. There's about 140 apartment buildings, and they are over 50% leased. It's one of the fastest leasing of any of their buildings that they've seen. They have a rooftop deck. They have a fitness facility, kitchen, kind of an open space room, and a golf simulator. So they kind of went high end on all of their amenities, which is fantastic. And then right next door is the Aldi's. I know there's an Aldi's in Chaska as well as Eden Prairie, but this is a new concept for them, one of their flagship stores in how they're designed, and have really generated a lot of interest in the area. On opening day, they had lines out around the door. Some people thought they were giving jumper cables away, but it was gift cards for $5, $10, $100. So they had a lot of excitement and a lot of energy was built around this complex. So we're excited to have them as an interest in our downtown. Now we think of the present, and as we continue to grow, something that in our community is so vital to the success of people moving, and that's our infrastructure. And one of the biggest infrastructure developments that has been taking place over the past many years, has been in discussion and progress, is the Highway 101 project. It's been a great collaborative effort between the City of Chanhassen, Carver County, and MnDOT. It is, you can read some of the information right there, but it's going to be a fully redesigned road. And I'd like to share with you a virtual tour because I think this tour that we've shown not only to the residents when we had neighborhood meetings, but also at all of our public hearings. But it's just a great way to understand what's going to take place on Highway 101 and that redesign and the impact that it's going to have not only to Chanhassen, but to us regionally, as we know that there's a lot of commuters headed north and south. So I'd like to step aside, and now we're not responding. And we worked really hard at getting this all, because if I was in charge of it, we would have had a lot of clip art, which wouldn't have been quite as effective. But as they're trying to pull it up, so if you've ever driven Highway 101 in the wintertime, it can be a little bit dicey going up and down that bluff. And so instead of having a 2-lane road, it's going to be a 4-lane divided highway. And some of the twists and turns and the elevation is going to be smoothed out for easier easier driving. And then one of the great assets to the community, you know that there's a lot of commuters that like to commute on their bike. And so there's going to be trails on the east and west side of Highway 101. But even more exciting, there's going to be a pedestrian bridge that goes over 101 that connects on the LRT. And it's not just a bridge to get across from, but there's also going to be a little space to be able to use some of the vistas as you stand on this bridge. $30 million project, and again, just a tremendous collaboration with the county and the state. You know, a lot of times those agencies, you kind of get stuck on moving forward, but together we work really well, and the project plans are 100% complete, and we are able to move forward with that. It will be a 2-phase project. So I'm pretty good at killing time, right? Try not to do this in council meetings. We try to just move it right on through, but it is going to be a 2-phase project, so they're going to work from kind of the middle point south first, and then from as phase 1, but the road will stay open the entire time. How we doing? Coming, guys? One more minute. All right. And then the second part will be from the middle up to Pioneer Trail. So again, this is going to be a great opportunity for us to grow regionally because of the easier commute for those headed north and south. All right, here we go. again, way better than clip art. So a fun way to understand what's going to happen to the region. And as we all know, like I said, as much as we like to focus on our own cities, the importance of growing regionally is so important to all of your successes as business owners, but to our city's successes as well. So to have a strong corridor on Highway 101 is very important to us. So we appreciate working with Carver County as well as the state. So as we continue kind of on the road, no pun intended, and when we talk about infrastructure, one of the big initiative for our city this year was talking about our pavement management program. This was a challenging one because whenever you talk to your residents and you talk about adding a tax or a fee, it causes a lot of concern and wondering how you're going to be spending the money. And so as we reviewed as a council over the past couple of years, but then really looked again this year as a council how we were going to fund our pavement management program, the one we kept throwing different ideas around, but the one that we kept coming back to was the implementation of a franchise fee. And as our city continues to grow and our needs continue to change and businesses come to town and development is happening, we know that we have to take care of our roads and our infrastructure. So just about a month ago, the city council did pass a franchise fee. We have implemented, or we will be implementing, a $5 franchise fee to each utility for our residents and business owners. But what this is going to do is it's going to create $1.7 million in funding for our overall pavement management program, which really gets us closer to our goal of spending $3 to $3.6 million on our roads. And we have a lot of roads coming due in the next few years, and we want to make sure we're able to stay ahead of maintaining our roads for our residents. So when I talk about the $3 million or $3.6 million, it's allowing us to basically double the miles that we can do for not only our mill and overlays, but for total road reconstruction. If you look at the map, that's just highlighting how not only we as a city plan for what roads need attention, but it also gives our residents an opportunity to have a little insight into what roads are coming due and the condition of the roads. So certainly a challenging process for us to go through as a city council, but a very important one, and we did a lot of outreach. We not only had our public work sessions, but we also held listening sessions where we just asked residents to come in, ask questions, and talk to us without having to take a vote that night, because we just wanted to hear their concerns and have an opportunity to address their questions. So it was a really positive, collaborative effort between city council, city staff, and our residents. And so when it came time to a vote, there was very little pushback from our residents because we had done such an effective job communicating this undeniable need that's in our city. So because infrastructure is so important is part of the reason why we continue to grow. And if we could move to the next slide, one of the biggest projects that's come before our city this past year is the park housing development. Has had a lot of names publicly over the last year. Most people know it as Prince's property. The artist formerly known as Prince, and the piece of property formerly known as Prince's property is called the Park Housing Development, and it's a housing development by Lennar. And why it garnered kind of the regional attention was obviously because of the previous owner, Prince. But locally, to our residents, the reason why this was such an important project was because there was an opportunity for preservation of 100 acres of land that abuts Lake Ann. And Lennar had proposed to put houses right up against Lake Ann, but the residents came out in full force saying, do what you can to protect this land. And so through a lot of negotiations with Lennar and staff and council, we were able to preserve 100 acres of parkland. If you've ever been to Lake Ann Park and you stand on the beautiful beach and you look out at the beautiful lake, there is no housing, there is no development anywhere on the lake, around the lake. It's a very pristine, beautiful, picturesque lake to stand at. And so we were able to preserve that 100 acres of parkland and move all the housing to the westernmost portion of the development. And so there'll be 167 homes. The majority are single-family homes, but there will be 33 townhomes as well, and it's going to come in 4 phases. So the first phase is under development right now, and that's taking place at the southernmost portion of the development, and we're going to work towards, work north as we develop. But another really positive community engagement that I think we as council did an effective job is getting the residents to come forward, share their concerns, share what their needs were, and I think we were able to address this and end up with a positive project. Since we acquired the 100 acres of land, we've gone through a feasibility study because obviously people are like, that's great that you've preserved 100 acres of parkland, but what's next? And so we performed a feasibility study to see what we're going to do with that parkland. We're evaluating trails and bridges and what that looks like, and then again asked for community engagement and taking surveys and feedback from residents and what they would like to see. So we'll work together to build that out, and that's going to be coming in the future as we move forward. But just a perfect example of working with your community with a positive result. Next, we can't just focus only on housing. We want to make sure that we have a diversified tax base, and so we had another large parcel of land that is now called the Elastic Business Park. If you're on Lyman Boulevard at Delphin Boulevard by Chanhassen High School, that's where this development is. There continues to be a great need for office industrial in our area or in our region. And so we have 2 large buildings for office industrial that are under development right now. It was a challenging project at first because of the difficult soils, but they've been able to move forward with that, and we have 2 buildings that will be completed in 2020. Next, kind of more on your touchy-feely side. As a mayor, I am so proud of our commissioners. We have such fantastic commissions in our city, led by very passionate people on the commissions. And one of those really passionate groups is our senior commission. And they have worked on a program called Act on Alzheimer's. And so they really have a clear understanding of what our seniors need in our community. There's a great desire to have a place where you can meet with your caregivers and loved ones in a comfortable setting. And that was really this memory cafe in Maple Corner is how this project came to be. So this room that was really unused at our lower level of City Hall, we have a great senior center, but on the back side of City Hall was an unused room. And because of the Senior Commission and Senior Center, they did a great job in working with some partners in our city to really transform this room. And it is now a place where seniors, caregivers, loved ones can meet to talk about their care, have meals, go through some of the challenges, or just meet for a cup of coffee and enjoy each other's company. And so thank you to Love Inc. Furniture for doing some of the design and donation of couches and tables and bookshelves. It's just fantastic, and it's not only that donation, but other businesses came together. Like we all know as cities and communities, the collaboration is so important to get these types of things done. And whether it was the financial donation from the Legion, or it was blinds or carpet or painting, we really came together as a community, and now our seniors have a great space to use. Just to have, especially as we enter the cold, dark winter months, have a place for them to go. So we're really excited about Maple Corner in the lower level of our City Hall. So now we talk about future, and everybody gets excited about planning and moving forward and what's next, and we want to anticipate what's coming towards our city. And one of the biggest initiatives that we as a council had this year, coming out of our strategy session that we had in January, we developed an Economic Development Commission. And this is really exciting because as a city that constantly grows, city staff, city council, we are likely to be more reactive than proactive. And so this commission, a 5-member commission, their task, so to speak, is to be proactive, not only with the existing business community, but to find out what impedes people coming to Chanhassen, how can we be effectively supporting our current businesses, and what are the opportunities not only this year and next year, but 5-10 years into the future future. And so this is a new commission for us that we're really excited about, that really can take a look at how can we be most effective in our growth in Chanhassen. So right now, we just had our first meeting in October. They're reviewing our comprehensive plan, our downtown vision study, just to kind of get a sense of where we're at today, how we got to where we are, and some of the plans going forward. But then it's upon them to come to City Council with their plans and how they're going to interact with the existing business community, but then really look at what are the opportunities for Chanhassen going forward. So we tend to spend a lot of time focusing on our downtown, but as we all know, Chanhassen is big and there's a lot of opportunity for growth and development. And so we're really looking to these people, these key 5 individuals, to come to City Council with ideas on how we can grow most effectively. So we're really excited about this new commission. And then some of the exciting businesses, which George and I will be able to hang out at again coming forward. These are some of the new businesses that are coming to Chanhassen in the future. Actually, one just opened this past Friday. It was Board and Brush. Really another great concept, a new unique business in downtown. It's in Market Square. It's a store where you can do projects. So you can either sign up for classes or you can rent the entire space. But they have stencils and you paint these big boards of projects or welcome signs and let's gather signs, and it's just a really fun way to gather people to come together and do some pretty cool projects. So that's what opened just this last Friday. We have Old Southern Barbecue. Maybe you're familiar with this. It's kind of a smaller version of Famous Dave's. This is set to open here in the next month or so. It'll be right to the east of where Buffalo Wild Wings is. And it's barbecue. It's walk up to counter, order your barbecue, sit down, have a beer, or hang with your friends and family and have some good barbecue. So we're really excited about this opening in Chanhassen. And then as all these communities growing up around us and growing is everybody has a brewery, and this has been a long time coming for Chanhassen. It's something that we hear a lot about is where is the brewery? And so we had a local couple that live in Chanhassen come forward with a business plan, and it's going to be called Chanhassen Brewing Company. If you know where the pedestrian bridge is over Highway 5, they have the piece of land that is just on the north side of Highway 5 to the east of the bridge, and are going to build a real family type space brewing company building. So they're excited about this. They're going through the process. As anyone knows that's opened a business, bless you. As anyone knows, it's you reach some challenges along the way, and you have to overcome some obstacles and hurdles, and that's what they're working through right now. But we couldn't be more excited about the opportunity to have Chanhassen Brewing Company in our city. And then I wanted to save this one for last, not because I have shots of tequila for anyone, but Tequila Butcher is coming into the old space of Applebee's. And I just think this is a really special project where you persevere, and whether or not you think something can happen, if you're determined and you have the right city staff to make it happen, it does. And the plan was to potentially level Applebee's and put up a bank. And while we love banks, we certainly love banks, Chanhassen has just been craving a new sit-down restaurant just for some more options in Chanhassen. And through really pushing and saying, let's find somebody to come into this space, we found somebody to come into the space. And then the next challenge or obstacle was, well, we love the space, we think we can renovate it, we know we can make it something special, but there's not enough parking. And so then we thought it was going to go away, and our city staff did such a great job in saying, okay, let's find a way. And I think that's really the attitude that they've had, is let's find a way. And we found a way, and so we added a new parking. They just built a parking lot across 79th Street, and so there'll be a parking lot across the way, a parking lot, obviously the existing parking lot where Applebee's is, but then they've renovated the entire space, and they're going to have 2 outdoor patios. There's going to be a speakeasy bar, and the whole flavor behind it is kind of this, they smoke their meats, and there's going to be a Southwestern flair. So really excited about that. We didn't just say, put our hands up and say this isn't going to happen, let's just level it and go with the bank. We pushed on it and we made it happen, and I know the residents of Chanhassen are really excited to have this new restaurant, and I believe it's going to be open probably in the next few weeks because I know they want to get the holiday crowds. So working hard to have that happen, but really excited to have them part of our business community. So that's it for some of what's coming forward with some of our new businesses in Chanhassen. Again, I'd like to thank the Chamber for hosting the lunch today. Thank you all for being members of the Chamber. I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to City Council. While we don't always agree on everything, nor should we work together to find solutions to the betterment of our residents, and if we already go too fast, we went a little fast. That was supposed to be my last thing, is our favorite elf out here. But I wanted to say thank you to Todd for his leadership, and then of course all of city staff for your hard work. You guys grind it out every day to serve our residents, and we couldn't do it without you, so we really appreciate all that you do. So thank you again. Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving.
Wow, some amazing things going on in our community. It makes me proud to live, work, and play in this community. I do want to say a special thank you to all four of you. It's really important that we have effective leadership, and I always have a soft spot for our elected officials, especially in this day and age. So thank you all for being community leaders and driving our communities forward. So one more round of applause for our Before we let you go, we have several meet and greets coming up. December 3rd, we'll be at Chanhassen Community Center. We'll have some of our new chamber members, so a great way to network with some folks. We're also unveiling our new website, which is really directed at promoting our community and all of you as businesses. We'll be at the aforementioned Chiropractic Specialist in Carver on December 10th for another meet and greet, and at Bavarian Downs in Chaska on December 17th. Our next luncheon will be our annual holiday luncheon by Chanhassen. We'll be at the Dinner Theater on Wednesday the 18th. So thank you again to all four cities and for all being here, and have a good rest of your day.